Hi guys, I'm back to go ahead and finish our last two chapters of Because of Winn-Dixie. I hope you enjoyed the last ones, and I'm really excited to see what happens if they find them. So without further talking and ado, chapter 25. We heard the music before we even got to Glory Dump's house. We heard it almost a block away. It was guitar playing and singing and clapping. I wonder what's going on, my father asked. We walked up Gloria's sidewalk and around back, through her yard and into her kitchen, and what we saw was Otis playing his guitar and Miss Franny and Gloria sitting there smiling and singing, and Gloria holding Sweetie Pie in her lap. Amanda and Dunlap and Stevie were sitting on the kitchen floor, clapping along and having the best possible time. Even Amanda was smiling. I couldn't believe they were so happy when Winn-Dixie was missing. "We didn't find him," I shouted at them. The music stopped and Gloria looked at me and said, "Child, we know you didn't find him. You didn't find him because he was right here all along." She took her cane and poked at something under her chair. "Come on out of there," she said. There was a snuff and a sigh. "He's asleep," she said. "He's plumb wore out." She poked around with her cane again, and Winn-Dixie stood up from underneath of her chair and yawned. "Winn-Dixie!" I hollered. "Dog!" Gertrude squawked. Winn-Dixie wagged his tail and showed me all of his teeth and sneezed. I went pushing past everybody. I dropped to the floor and wrapped my arms around him. "Where have you been?" I asked him. He yawned again. "How did you find him?" I asked. "Now there's a story," said Miss Franny. "Gloria, why don't you tell it?" "Well," said Gloria Dump, "we was just all sitting here around waiting on you two. And after I convinced those Dewberry boys I ain't no scary witch all full of spells and potions." "She ain't no witch," Stevie said. He shook his bald head. He looked kind of disappointed. "Nah," said Dunlap. "She ain't. And if she was, she would have turned us into toads by now." He grinned. "I could have told you she wasn't a witch. Witches don't exist," said Amanda. "They are just myths." "All right now," said Gloria. "What happened was we got through all them witchy things, and then Franny said, 'Why don't we have a little music while we wait for you two to get back?' And so Otis played his guitar, and woo-wee, there ain't a song he don't know. And if he don't know it, he can pick it right up if you hum it to him. He has a gift." Gloria stopped and smiled over at Otis. He smiled back. He looked all lit up from the inside. "Tell what happened," Sweetie Pie said. "Tell about that dog." "So," Gloria said, "Franny and me, we started thinking about all these songs we knew from when we was girls. We got Otis to play 'em, and he started singing 'em and teaching the words to these children." "And then somebody sneezed," Sweetie Pie shouted. "That's right," said Gloria. "Somebody sneezed, and it wasn't none of us. So we looked around wondering who did it, thinking that maybe we got us a burglar in the house. We looked around, and we didn't see nothing. So we started into singing again. And sure enough, there was another big achoo. Sounded like it was coming from my bedroom. So I sent Otis in there. I said, 'Otis, go on in there and see who's sneezing.' So Otis went, and who do you think he found?" I shook my head. "Winn-Dixie!" shouted Sweetie Pie. "That dog of yours was all hid underneath my bed, squeezed under there like the world was about to end. But he was smiling like a fool every time he heard Otis play the guitar, smiling so hard he sneezed." My daddy laughed. "It is true," Miss Franny said. "It's the truth," said Stevie. Dunlap nodded and smiled right at me. "So," Gloria Dumb said, "Otis played his guitar right to that dog, and a little bit at a time Winn-Dixie came creeping out from underneath the bed." "He was covered in dust," said Amanda. "He looked like a ghost," said Dunlap. "Yeah," said Sweetie Pie, "just like a ghost." "Mm-hmm," said Gloria. Looked just like a ghost. Anyway, the storm stopped after a while, and your dog settled in under my chair and fell asleep. And that's where he's been ever since, just waiting on you to come back and find him." "Winn-Dixie," I said. I hugged him so tight he wheezed. "You were right there whistling and we were out there whistling and calling for you, and you were right here all along." "Thank you," I said to everybody. "Well," said Gloria Dump, "we didn't do nothing. We just sat here and waited and sang some songs. We all got to be good friends. Now, the punch ain't nothing but water, and the egg salad sandwiches got tore up by the rain. You got to eat 'em with a spoon if you want egg salad. But we got pickles to eat and litmus lozenges, and we still got a party going on." Daddy pulled out a kitchen chair and sat down. "Otis," he said, "do you know any hymns?" "I know some," said Otis. You hum it, said Miss Franny, nodding her head, and he can play it. So my daddy started humming something, and Otis started picking it up on his guitar. And Winn-Dixie wagged his tail and lay down underneath Gloria's chair. I looked around the room and at all the different faces, and I felt my heart swell up inside me with pure happiness. I'll be back in a minute, I said. But they were all now singing and laughing, and Winn-Dixie was snoring, so no one heard me. Last chapter, chapter 26. Outside, the rain had stopped and the clouds had gone away, and the sky was so clear it seemed like I could see every star ever made. I walked all the way to the back of Gloria Dump's yard. I walked back there and looked at her mistake tree. The bottles were quiet. There wasn't a breeze, so they were just hanging there. I looked at the tree and then I looked up at the sky. Mama, I said, just like she was standing beside me, I know 10 things about you, and that's not enough. That's not near enough. But Daddy is going to tell me more. I know he will, now that he knows you're not coming back. He misses you and I miss you. But my heart doesn't feel empty anymore. It's full all the way up. I'll still think about you, I promise. But probably not as much as I did this summer. And that's what I said that night underneath Gloria Dump's mistake tree. And after I was done saying it, I stood up staring at the sky, looking at the constellations and planets. And then I remembered my own tree, the one Gloria had helped me plant. I had looked at it for a long time. I went crawling around on my hands and knees searching for it, and when I found it, I was surprised at how much it had grown. It was still small. It still looked more like a plant than a tree, but the leaves and the branch felt real strong and good and right. And I was down there on my knees, and I heard a voice saying, "Are you praying?" I looked up. It was Dunlap. "No," I said, "I'm not praying, I'm thinking." He crossed his arm and looked down at me. "What about?" he asked. "All kinds of different things," I said. "I'm sorry I called you and Stevie bald-headed babies." "That's all right," he said. "Gloria told me to come out here and get you." "I told you she wasn't a witch." "I know it," he said. "I know it all along. I was just teasing you." "Oh," I said. I looked at him close. It was hard to see him good in the dark yard. "Ain't you ever going to stand up?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. And then he surprised me. He did something never in a million years I thought a Dewberry boy would do. He held out his hand to help me get up. And I took it, and I let him pull me to my feet. "I'll race you back to the house," Dunlap said, and he started to run. "Okay," I shouted, "but I'm warning you, I'm fast." We ran, and I beat him. I touched the corner of Gloria Dump's house right before he did. "You shouldn't be running around in the dark," said Amanda. She stood on the porch looking at us. "You could trip over something." "Oh, Amanda," said Dunlap, and he shook his head. "Oh, Amanda." I said it too. And then I remembered Carson, and I felt bad for her. I went up on the porch and took hold of her hand and pulled on her. "Come on," I said. "Let's go inside." "India Opal," Daddy said to me when Amanda and I and Dunlap walked in. "Are you here to sing some songs with us?" "Yes, sir," I said. "Only I don't know that many songs." "We'll teach you," he said. He smiled at me real big. It was a good thing to see. "That's right," said Gloria Dump. "We will." Sweetie Pie was sitting in her lap, but her eyes were closed. "Care for a litmus lozenge?" asked Miss Franny, as she passed me the bowl. "Thank you," I told her. I took a litmus lozenge and unwrapped it and put it in my mouth. "Do you want a pickle?" Otis asked, holding up his big jar of pickles. "No, thank you," I said. "Not right now." Winn-Dixie came out from underneath of Gloria Dump's chair. He sat next to me and leaned into me the same as I was leaning into my daddy. And Amanda stood right there beside me, and when I looked over at her, she didn't look pinch-faced at all to me. Dunlap cracked his knuckles and said, "Well, are we going to sing or what?" "Yeah," Stevie echoed. "Are we going to sing or what?" "Let's sing," said Sweetie Pie, opening her eyes and sitting up straight. "Let's sing for the dog." Otis laughed and strummed his guitar, and the flavor of the litmus lozenge opened in my mouth like a flower blooming, all sweet and sad. And then Otis and Gloria Dump and Stevie and Miss Franny and Dunlap and Amanda and Sweetie Pie and my daddy all started to sing a song, and I listened carefully so I could learn it right. All right, guys. Well, that is the end of Because of Winn-Dixie, and I really enjoyed that. I hope you guys did too. So I'll be looking for other books. If you guys have any suggestions of books you would like to have read out loud, send me a message, and I'm definitely happy to look into those. So I'm looking forward to if you have any suggestions, and that's anytime throughout the year. Always looking for a new good book. So, all right, guys. Well, I hope you have a very happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to try to do a live tomorrow, Friday. Um, I'm going to do it at 10 o'clock, and it'll just be a hey, how are you? Maybe do a couple of Thanksgiving activities if you're having any trouble, things like that. So it will just be a fun thing for Thanksgiving, get you to know where everything's at, and I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys. Bye.